Today I'm going to show you how we went from this to this. Welcome back to the Danny Wang Design YouTube channel, where I go in depth with some of my favorite design build projects. Our project for today is a little different from the past ones we've covered. This project, Metamorphic Muse, isn't a full backyard redesign, but instead it's a refresh of the existing yard. Think of this more of an evolution rather than a revolution. With that, let's dive in. The client wanted us to utilize the existing features of the yard while giving it the DWD treatment. The goal for this project was to modernize the yard with new colors, surfaces, and the addition of some new features such as an outdoor kitchen and entertainment space to enjoy dinner and watch the sunset. Working with this client was such a breeze, as he wanted my team and I to have the freedom to give them the best result possible. So now that we know what the client wants, let's get to the drawing board. Looking at this yard, we can see that all the colors are pink, peachy, and tan, which instantly tells someone that this yard was probably designed in the 80s or 90s. The artificial rock features were fading and starting to show their age, so that needed to be addressed immediately. What I did was change the color of all the rocks to a gray tone to match the more zen-like approach and feel that I wanted to achieve. Additionally, we resculpted the shape of the rocks to make them taller and flatter to incorporate more zen-like elements to the redesign. We decided to keep the pool and hot tub in the same location for simplicity, and they're already in a great spot, although there are cracks in both, which we will need to check out. Right behind the hot tub, we had a blank wall that detracts from the new design. To fix that, we are going to have a light wall to cover it up and provide a warmer ambiance, while also adding some nice patterns to look at instead of cinder block. Moving on to the other side of the yard, we are going to incorporate the outdoor kitchen and dining area into the corner of the yard with a large patio cover to protect it from the elements. In order to free up some space for the dining area, we are going to need to remove the grass and the plants from the corner of the yard. While we were at it, I had the idea to replace the existing trees with olive trees to match our sleek and modern aesthetic. The client liked the idea and gave us permission to get rid of the existing trees and foliage. Now that we have the blueprints for the yard set in stone, it's time to get the structure ready for construction. But before that, close to 90% of you guys watching aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying our content, consider subscribing so you know when we release a new video. And with that, let's head into the yard. First, we need to mark where the new things will be going so we can get an idea of spacing. Marking where everything will go helps us plan ahead and gives us a good visual on the scale of the features being added in. I always like to live by the mantra, measure twice and cut once, so for me, it doesn't hurt to spend a little extra time marking out features so we know for certain where everything goes. During this stage, we decided to do a little inspection on the pool and spa since we were already going to drain it. While we were inspecting the yard, we noticed some cracks in the plaster in the hot tub and pool. Hopefully it's not too bad, but we will definitely need to drain the pool and hot tub and possibly even need to redo the plaster. In order to get the yard ready, we are going to drain both the pool and hot tub, as well as remove the plants and grass to make room for our new trees and outdoor kitchen. With the yard down to only the bare essentials, we were finally able to start with construction. We started with the corner of the yard that's going to house the outdoor kitchen and dining area. Originally, the corner of the yard had a raised grassy area that wasn't being used. We took out all of the greenery to free up some room for our outdoor kitchen and seating area. We decided to keep the raised elevation of this area and tore down the retaining wall so we could put in some steps. Under each step, we have an LED light strip that not only adds some practicality by illuminating the steps at night, but also helps make the yard come to life. On the back of the concrete slab, we have the outdoor kitchen, which has all of the necessities that you would need for hosting a party. We have the appliances ordered as well as the large patio cover, so they should be here soon so we can finish up this corner of the yard. While we wait for those to show up, let's get the pool area started. Since we are adding extra height with the patio cover, we need to build up the rocks to make them more proportional to the new vertical dimension of the yard. We are going to add more rocks on both sides, as well as a couple small ones that go around the perimeter of the pool. Before we start framing the rocks, we follow the markings we left earlier on to make sure we don't block the steps up to the slide. We then use a metal square tubing to make a frame of the rough shape and size of the rock. Once the framing was done, we filled it with concrete and shaped it to blend in with the existing feature. When the concrete was finished, my team went in and recolored the rocks, giving them a gray finish to match our modern color palette. For the color choice, we're going to go with a darker gray, which will match the palette of the rest of the yard. Moving on to the pool itself, We noticed earlier that the existing plaster had cracks in it. After some careful inspection, we concluded that the cracks were only in the plaster, making this an easy fix. The hot tub also had a crack in the plaster, so we added that to the list for our plaster team. For a pool this size, it took our plaster team about a day to complete because they need to be extremely careful with smoothing out the floor and walls of the pool. After they are finished, we let it cure for the next 48 hours before filling it with water to test for leaks. And just like that, the pool was completed. Next, we're going to talk about how we did the landscaping. Earlier in the episode, we took out all of the existing foliage so we could go in and give the landscaping a facelift. Not only do the new plants match the aesthetic better, but they also solve the problem for the client. The previous trees and plants made a huge mess in the backyard that the client would have to clean up after fairly regularly. Our new plan was to place trees along the side yard wall and have them spaced out by about 10 feet to give them ample room. The new trees helped hide some of the wall and provided some privacy for our yard. For the backyard, we chose a fruitless olive tree to get the beautiful look of a traditional olive tree, but without the mess from the fruit. The greenery helped bring some much needed life back into the yard. As you can see, there are a lot of different plants on this trailer, most of which are going into the backyard. Because of the location and size of the yard, we cannot get any heavy machinery back here. To get around this constraint, we decided to use a large crane to lift the trees into the backyard. Although a little treacherous, it's nothing that a skilled team like the one we hired couldn't handle. Enough talking about the trees, let's start moving them into the yard. Once we are done with moving the plants into the yard, we can finish up the yard with the furnishing, and then it's time to reveal the final product. We got the shipment of furniture for the yard so we can furnish the outdoor entertainment area and wrap up this project. So here's Metamorphic Muse. Let's talk about all of the features that we added and changes that were made. Starting off with the pool, we had to make some upgrades. We refreshed the rock features with some augmentations and fresh paint, moving on from the old drab peachy look of the 90s to the sleek, zen-like contemporary look that our client wanted. In the corner, we transformed the grass patch into a patio that is perfect for enjoying dinner while watching the sunset. Along the walls, we have olive trees that not only look the part, but aid in giving the yard some privacy from the neighbors. We tied the whole yard together with a warm lighting system that illuminates the steps and walkways in the yard, all while modernizing the yard a little bit. Thanks for watching this yard transformation, and if you like the content we're doing here, subscribe so you know when our latest release.